Good evening. So what you're watching here is me cutting the Ben's Sugar Shack interview with Ben Fisk for the upcoming video on Ben's Sugar Shack. Just a little inside baseball here. Nothing crazy. I'm just listening through to the interview, listening to all the answers. But I'm cutting not only the good answers, but also trying to cut and organize what is said into as close to a narrative story as possible. Now, because this is just someone talking about their company, there's a little bit of narrative, in terms of like, obviously we kind of want to put how it got started at the beginning, but then there's some questions about, what kind of person does it take to make maple? What are some challenges of the company? What are some big hurdles in terms of, that you've encountered growing the company, things like that. And then various answers at various points in the timeline. This is a 40-minute interview, and it needs to be boiled down, no pun intended, to about a minute and a half, really a minute of him talking, because the whole video will probably end up being about 3 minutes, so you're going to have to account for some pacing. I have some narration dialogue that's probably going to go in here. So I really want less is more, kind of, in a way, but obviously I don't want to just start deleting stuff, because as I'm putting the edit together, I might realize certain phrases or answers make more sense, but I'm just trying to kind of play a shell game, switching things around, trying to make stuff relate to each other, or stuff that feels a little more related to each other than other parts. And then sometimes people will say stuff that's not really related, but there's a couple connecting words that help transition two different topics together. So you're kind of, it's like a little bit of a trick, but if you throw some B-roll over it, it works. So, that's this first thing. And then so once I get all that, then I go through and do sort of a second pass, re-listening to the answers, listening to the flow. Does this make sense? And then at the end, I don't know where it'll be in this time lapse, but I pull up some notes and I just start jotting down like word vomit on a page based on what's kind of inspired me through listening to these answers. Is like, okay, well, what are these narrative anchors? What pieces can I not connect with the interview to each other? So then I would come in and be like, but not only does maple, and that's kind of where I'm at the process. Now, what's tricky, I leave day after tomorrow for a trip. This video is kind of timely because he's specifically talking about, as you may have seen in the video a couple days ago where I put just some snippet teaser answers on there. This week is actually a bit of a sweat moment for these maple producers, because yes, you have cold nights and warm days, but the warm days are too warm and there's potentially too many of them and it's too fast, and it's been super cold up until these warm days, so like it's too much of a there's not enough gradient in the temperatures. So it's actually looking like he expresses he's a little concerned that this might actually be their worst season. Well, I think that's a really fascinating piece of information, because especially right now, all this stuff is like, it's warm and cold and it's perfect for maple, when actually really it kind of isn't. It's actually a little over perfect. And so I want to be able to put this out while it still relates to that time. That being said, March is also New Hampshire Maple Month, and so I want to get this out while the hype is still there. So that would all be fine. I've been prepared to edit this on my trip a little bit, but I'm missing some B-roll. I just don't have enough to really round this out. I don't like videos where I'm just looking at somebody talking. Nobody does. Unless they're telling some crazy story. But nobody wants to talk with somebody, watch someone talk about maple and just look at their face, I don't know. No hate to what he's saying. It is fascinating, but I need some better shots of the maple market. I need just more stuff. So I'm sitting here kind of scrounging possible scheduling options for tomorrow of maybe where I can swing by and grab like just a drone shot of the maple market would help me a lot. I hate to go to YouTube and pull B-roll or anything like that, because I just don't love doing that, but I'll do it if I need to. So yeah, those are the thoughts right now. My goal is to try to get this out by this weekend, but just looking at my work schedule and my traveling and everything, I just don't know how I'm going to pull it off, but I'm going to do my best. So